I'm going to call this meeting to order. And first, I just want to sort of review the protocol for setting the agenda. I think what we should do is what we've done in the past, where if you want something on the agenda, just get in touch with me. And then, ahead of, the Friday before our meeting, then I'll pass that along to Dina to write up. Dina will send me the draft of the agenda, and once that's approved, or once I review that, then it can go out
to BCTV and...
Yep, and then if, sometimes we need a revision. So that would be the way we will do that.
Okay.
Everyone good?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
With that, we have the minutes of September 8th.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes of September 8th.
I'll second them.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, we have bills for payment, 7 of the payroll, capital fund 2, and the recreation board 2.
I'll make a motion to approve bills for payment, 7P, capital fund 2, recreation board 2.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion? Let's see. Number 7 is for $1,881,331. Wait a minute. I'm going to start again. I'm not
Okay.
used to these,
Big numbers.
this many commas, right? Okay, $1,881,331.66. Now, which is more than our usual, but $1,849,356.61 went to, I guess that's our partial payment to the Wyndham Southeast School District. So we'll be making another payment in that neighborhood. Other than that, we spent some money on fuel, highway grant and aid work. There was health insurance, payroll transfers. The passive insurance, that was a big one at $14,000, and we had the sheriff's monthly bill. Any discussion? Other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Public comments, are you here for something on the agenda?
Yes, for the Mas Polimigra.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the road foreman's report. And we had some, let's see, we heard from...
Now I've heard from 2 residents on Kipling Road regarding speeding. After the first one, I contacted the sheriff's department, which they said that the signage wasn't proper in order to enforce it. So Lee has put one on the middle road side. It's all set with them, and I'll talk to the sheriff's department again to let them know I've got a second complaint and see if they can do a little bit more enforcement over in that end.
Yeah, that'd be good. Okay, and then we had a request to lower the speed limit on Kipling Road.
Yeah, from 35 to 25.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
Because it's a dirt road. I mean, the argument was that it's a dirt road, and a middle road, which is paved, is 35. And I do walk on. Actually, I walk on Kipling Road sometimes, and cars can go pretty fast.
Yeah, I've noticed that, there are some cars that go really fast, but I think the nature of the road for more cautious drivers, tend to stay below the 35 on most of it.
Yeah.
I think maybe we try some enforcement first.
Yep.
I think so.
And see how it goes. Okay, so you'll contact the sheriff?
I'll contact the sheriff.
Great. Okay. Anything else on that? Governor Scott signed the federal disaster paperwork. So good. And looking forward to get reimbursed some of our expenses.
Right, it'll be a bit, but
Mhm.
now go back to FEMA.
Yeah. And then there's the fiscal year 22 Transportation Alternatives Program grant opportunity. And some of that, Lee is hoping could be used for working on Salmon Brook. So he has the person who's working on that grant program is scheduled to come out as soon as he gets back from vacation to look at the Salmon Brook area.
Okay, good.
And then he would, if the money is, if the work would qualify for this grant opportunity, Lee would then have Scott Jensen who's the river expert from Agency of Natural Resources, come out to advise and give approval for whatever work needs to be done. So that's what I have as an update on the slab hollow work.
Great.
So it's, waiting, but this might be an opportunity for us.
Good.
Is any other, let's see, I spoke with Lee. They finished the grant and aid projects, stone lining ditches. They have tractor out, or I guess they're getting ready to start blowing leaves out of ditches. But right now they're out mowing as often as they can, and then hauling some gravel and grading roads. That's what he expects to occupy them for the next couple of weeks. He's hoping there might be a grant opportunity. He'd like to get a different leaf blower that can do one side or the other. Right now he has to go down against the traffic, I guess, to blow. So, and he's thinking if he could get the grant and then sell the present blower, then it would be a wash. So we'll wait to hear from him on how that goes.
Okay.
Under correspondence, any other road foreman? Okay. Let's see, correspondence for information. Is there anything you'd like to discuss there?
I signed up for that October 4th ARPA Day.
Right? I guess probably none of us are attending the BCTV Annual meeting that's
Having tonight?
happening right now.
Yeah, that would, no.
We can probably watch it later. The question about the boot drop. I guess we had a request for someone to do a boot drop fundraising. And I guess it's up to the Department of Transportation, as I understand.
Yeah, and I think Lori forwarded her that information to her, yeah.
Mhm. Okay,
Yep.
great. All right, anything else on there you'd like to know? Under correspondence for discussion and or action, we had a letter from Charlotte Annis, our treasurer, town treasurer, on the tax collection that's going on. And it seemed like, from what I could get from the letter, that tax collection is a little better than
Yes.
previous
Normal.
years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's good news. Any discussion about that, or?
I have to give Charlotte, she did really well for delinquent taxes, working with the delinquent taxes. She's been doing a good job on that.
Yeah, she
Yes.
is doing a very good job with that. Let's see. Well, speaking of doing a good job, some of the boards and commissions in town are needing some new volunteers coming on, and the DRB in particular, the Development Review Board, is looking to add a few new members, and that is a very interesting board to be on. And the only board that I know of that has a Christmas party, so.
That would be the one to do.
I mean, that,
Yeah. Yes, we're gonna do that.
so,
Yes.
good group of people doing a great job for the town.
But we could use some volunteers.
Yes, yeah, they really need some help. We have an opening for an auditor seat. Planning Commission, how are they doing?
We had one person show up for the meeting in September, earlier this month. I don't know if we haven't received a letter
Okay,
saying he wants to join. so.
okay. Well, maybe he heard about the DRB being the party board.
Oh, yeah, I think he's gonna go
I
that one.
suggested that there was a bigger need on the DRB than the planning commission.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Right.
All right, I have his email, so maybe I'll check back in
Mhm.
with him. And there was another person who was interested, so. Okay, moving on to new business. There was a Rescue Inc. meeting, and it was attended by both Maria and Terry.
Yeah, and basically what we've got is we're gonna get a quote coming in.
Mhm.
They're gonna be going over the contract that they were gonna present us at some point. We're not quite sure when yet. They're gonna do some legal work on that, and there's still some issues pertaining to what Brattleboro is doing at this point. So it's still kind of up in the air to see what we get, but if it goes along with what we heard, we would go by the census number, and then our rate, and we only went up one person on the census, so we're just gonna have to wait and see. It's a very fluid situation at this point.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Let's see. We have the no Mas Polimigra. Yes. Discussion follow-up. Who'd like to?
Well, we have I understand that you want to speak to this. I think we talked about it at our last meeting.
Yeah.
I think you intimated that the sheriff's department here had indicated that they do not pursue immigration issues. Let's give the floor to you to see what you have to say.
I can also add
Yeah.
quickly that I did follow up with the sheriff,
Okay.
specifically asking what their current policy was right now. And Mark Anderson got back to me and said that he pulled the reports from 2013 to present, which is kind of all the time he could look for reports. And he said that there had been no instances where the Windham County Sheriff's Department had contacted immigration officers, and that was his intention moving forward, that would continue to be how the department was acting. But I can say that based on further research that I did, while their records show that they have not contacted immigration enforcement in any respect, they still legally are able to. So just as that seems like an important distinction to make, so.
Okay. And Chris Gagne, you'd like to speak to this?
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I'd really like to make two sort of parallel requests. One is that I really believe that our town should not be allowing contractors who work for our town, such as the sheriff, to have potentially discriminatory practices and policies. And so I recognize that the Sheriff's Department has not engaged in that on record to date. But I think that in these times, I think it's worth codifying the limitations on law enforcement officers. The fair and impartial policing policy that's in effect right now speaks towards immigration status of individuals, but there are 4 key loopholes. It allows the sharing of confidential information with immigration agents as long as it's justified on the grounds of public safety or law enforcement needs. When the fair and impartial policing policy states that partnership with Vermont residents is the most effective way to ensure public safety. So when maintaining the public's trust is so important to the efficacy of policing, keeping all of our community members safe, including migrant workers, including undocumented farmhands. There are members of our community that we support being here that should not live in fear of not being able to access law enforcement. The second loophole is that officers are allowed to rely on suspicion of the person having recently crossed the border. So when there's suspicion of recently crossing the border, superimposed by the Vermont policing authority is not to enforce any sort of civil immigration policy. There's many statements in the fair and impartial policing policy that says that Vermont police are not immigration enforcement officers. But if an officer it says that they suspect somebody has recently crossed the border, they can then call that person into ICE and share information. Now, it's important to note here, and this is sort of getting to my second appeal, that ICE and Border Control currently is committing human rights violations. I have some pictures I'd like to offer you of some overcrowded ICE detention centers. If you wouldn't mind passing these around. ICE detention centers are overcrowded. They're COVID hotspot spreading areas. There's also widely documented cases of abuse of prisoners that goes as far as forced hysterectomies of over 40 women. So as a person, I am very uncomfortable with the possibility that the Windham County Sheriff's officers, without having any proven immigration status issues, could use their discretion and contact ICE and send somebody who may be working at a local farm into horrific situations. So the Vermont fair and impartial policing policy that's currently in effect allows towns and others to place more stringent controls on the limitations of police. And so essentially I am coming to you to ask that the Selectboard put pressure on the Sheriff of Windham County and that department to sign on for these amendments that would further restrict policing powers and prevent racial profiling leading to potential deportation or detaining people due to suspected immigration status. And again, it is not, in no scenario does the Vermont policing policy support police officers enforcing immigration.
Okay, any questions?
Do you have a specific, specific language or proposal that you'd like us to look at?
So I have some questions about that. I'm new to the select board process of managing policing matters, and so I don't actually know whether the best step would be Dummerston restricting the operations of the sheriff's department in our town. I think that we are allowed to do that, but I'm not sure. Or whether we, as the people who hire the sheriff's department to offer enforcement services in our town, need to write a referendum or a motion that endorses and puts pressure on the sheriff's office to signing on to this addition. So I don't have an article with me today, but part of the question is, what would you recommend about process? And I'm happy to follow up in coming meetings as well.
Let's see. I wonder if we were to invite the sheriff here to ask about these issues, especially that one about the discretionary, and see what how they handle that. I know this group was talking with the sheriff's department earlier, before COVID, I think, and to see where they are in that process.
It's my understanding that the Windham County Sheriff's Office has declined to adopt these measures to protect our undocumented migrants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another question that we can ask about. Would you like to invite the sheriff?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I think that would be good too.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Would you?
I'll call Mark at the same time do a
Would
call.
it be appropriate for this gentleman to be at that meeting at the same time?
It will be on our agenda, and
Yeah,
he's,
of course,
as
yeah.
a member of the public,
Yeah.
he's welcome to attend any
Yeah.
meeting.
Certainly.
I'll be happy to.
Yeah, and I just point out, I know probably everyone's familiar with the Jamaican H2A workers who
Yeah.
are around Vermont this time of year with the apple harvest, but they're, well, they're migratory workers. They're here with visas that, they're completely legal, so
Totally.
not
Yeah.
subject to ICE or deportation.
Right.
I would also note that it's my understanding that under the current discretion, you maybe just don't actually have ID with you, and you may be of a non-white race, and that is enough to, if an officer chooses to use his discretion poorly, open somebody up who is not an undocumented immigrant to similar problematic discriminatory treatment. So this is partly an issue of enforcement where the felt implications are before any due process. If you are detained by ICE, you are immediately in problematic detention centers and at severe risk. And I don't think that's right to be doing to our fellow humans.
Are you aware of any instances in Windham County where these things have happened?
Not firsthand, no. But I do believe that the absence of a known problem does not, I think, let us off the hook from codifying language and legislation and policy to protect that.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, we'll invite the sheriff to a meeting, and we'll post that in the agenda.
Thanks for your time.
And you'll probably hear through the grapevine.
Great.
Yeah, I'll see when he's available.
Yeah, great. Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming in. Okay, we have a vendor license application for October 9th and October 10th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Covered Bridge parking lot. This is another person that wants to sell some wares alongside of the vendor that we approved at our last meeting.
Great, I'll make a motion that we approve the vendor license application for October 9th and 10th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Covered Bridge parking lot.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Then we have a liquor catering application for October 9th, 1 to 4 p.m. for an event at the Scott Bar.
I'll make a motion that we recess the regular meeting.
Oh, right.
And
As the liquor control board.
That was just a test to make sure we were paying attention.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now it's the liquor commissioners. We have a liquor catering application for October 9th from 1 to 4 p.m. for an event at the Scott Farm.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor catering application and for an event at the Scott Farm on 10/9 from 1 to 4.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And I will abstain. So,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn as a liquor control board and reconvene the regular meeting.
I'll second that.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. We have some warrants to sign. Let's see. Do we have any other business to come before this august board tonight?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.